This exhibition theme is transformation, and for you, what means transformation?
Transformation for me is really about understanding that change is constant and appreciating it, but also respecting it. It's very much about resilience and also the ability to learn and grow. I think I gravitate towards work which has that sentiment, which is often about transformation of material, transformation of thought, which has this humility also about it. I think in the work that I did in the exhibition here, the emphasis of the work was really about a lack of ownership and impermanence, something that was not very expensive to make, but also involved a lot of labor, but at the same time, you know, it was on inexpensive paper and celebrated the act of being here, the act of assemblage, the act of like working with others, and then also the fact that once it's over, it's over. There is no significance or importance, in terms of like the work itself. It was about the experience. So there is transformation in that process. A lot of my work is made up of process and layers, and it's always changing. And as an artist also, I think I often will revisit old work and am not afraid to alter it or change it. And I enjoy that sort of transgression. It allows me to be able to accommodate new growth and new ideas, as well as entertain different opinions and alterations. So I was very appreciative to be part of this exhibition, which explores transformation in many ways, not just in the formal sense of making of the work, but conceptually in a variety of ways. And I thought that every artist in the exhibition added something completely independent and about their own process, but also very like a wide range and variety of exploration of this topic, which I think at some level everybody addresses. All artists in their practice are engaged with the idea of transformation.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And also, I very much interested in to see kind of relations and interrelations, videos and animation work, and also the drawings. So if you explain something about the relations, to new pieces, also the drawings and the front.
Drawing is really fundamental to my practice. I draw out of memory. I draw out of a relationship with the material, how ink sits on paper, how different mark making can actually give birth to various forms. So this back and forth with with this ritual, it's almost like a sketchbook or a journal, or the practice itself allows to really employ a lot of different forms. And then there's a lot of editing, and some drawings work and some don't. But the ones that work, I would then archive them or save them and then evolve them further. And in that process, many layers of detail, layers of almost embellishment get added on, and this process of working in layers allows me to then make observations born out of everyday understanding of geopolitics, social systems, like working with other artists, how as an artist myself I'm always negotiating different cultures, different under different relationships to those cultures. It's like this constant negotiation of place and time, and then formally being involved with understanding and deconstructing miniature painting for years, how bringing a layer of that in the work without making it very contrived. So it's like a assemblage of all these various ideas, but I think the process of working in layers allows me to assemble this, and the installation here in the exhibition also literally is in layers of drawings that kind of mirror the layers in the animations, and the sense of narrative comes from that accumulation. There is no linear narrative as such. It's always implied, and in the implication there's a open-endedness where, you know, people will gravitate perhaps and most likely to the very detailed nature of the work, but without becoming illustrative. The work is suggestive of a variety of narratives, but it always kind of gives an open sense of a narrative or a particular meaning in the symbolism. And a lot of the symbolism in the work is not, it references historical miniature painting, but in a very open way again. It might reference it in the way that it's stylized and drawn, and perhaps a color palette, but nothing beyond that. So it's almost an illusion that it is related to a certain precision and a way of making work, but it's a playfulness with it, it's a flirtation with it. It does not need a background understanding or knowledge of that genre for you to experience the work, and I think that's the struggle that I always had, is how to make something compelling without necessarily dragging the entire history or baggage of where, you know, I started. And animations have also allowed me to bring sound into the work, and I think sound becomes a very important navigation tool, and also recent collaboration with some artists, in particular Duan Chinese experimental young artists that I've worked with, has really opened up, you know, a different audience for the work too. And I often will make drawings for the animation, and in the process will come across new forms that will then inform, you know, the small drawings also. So shift in scale allows to develop the work. It's a very deliberate way of working small and large simultaneously. Also working in animation gives this immediacy to the work. You know, the work can be less precious, and it can be shown in multiple locations and at a very large scale as well. So again, I think the ability to show a variety of work in this exhibition, I was very appreciative of that, because this way I think I was able to show the process of the work, as well as some of the older works, as well as some of the new works, and how everything is interlinked.
Okay. So second question is, what do you say about your second life after your life, and what you want to be if you have a second life?
I have never really thought about a second life, but since you posed this question, I think I love flight. I like the idea of flying. So I would say, you know, a second life, I'd entertain being a bird.
The last question is, this exhibition meant me some statement, new proposals. So under this political, social, economic climate, everything dramatically changing, and people losing their kind of states, and how is it going to be, what the humanity is. And through this exhibition or through your work, and is there any message to the audiences?
Well, you know, the work, for me, making work is really about being sensitive and aware of what is happening around. not just in the immediate community, but in for instance, living in New York, one is acutely aware of what is happening in Pakistan, and I traveled there and lived there also. So the geopolitical back and forth, the constant change, political change in Pakistan, and how what is perceived versus what is represented, it's always a crisis, and it's impossible not to be affected by it and not to have one's work engage that. And I've always gravitated towards it, but as an artist with a particular formal language, it is again something that you own, that is a constant negotiation, because the language is a one way, and then as an artist you can point to certain things, but in terms of really making a kind of a social change happens over time, and over perhaps coming together of many people, many ideas. And I think that when you see a group as a collective, a direction like this show perhaps addresses, there's a collective group here of people, lots of different ideas, and that have informed the exhibition, then it is important that an audience comes in and comes in with an open idea, with an openness to really look and understand their own ability to play a part in this world, and how they can actually, what they are doing to create a transformation in their particular context. And I think this show allows that. It gives a large range of grasping what transformation is. And when you bring a wide range of audience, open it up to a wide range of audience, they will, I think, will gather a lot of different ideas, which they will carry with them and live with them, and perhaps revisit those ideas and find an appropriate relationship to how they themselves are responsible, and become aware of their ability to change and alter and grow and transform. And I think a topic like this is obviously very relevant to us. Has always been relevant, but in particular to I think, coming especially from New York right now, where I've always felt like there's so much happening in Asia, amongst the Asian countries. There's a very interesting a dialogue that happens, which is very complex, and which is not necessarily a parallel to a Western construct. And participating in that and becoming more engaged in that is really very exciting. I also recently met many young artists in Shanghai also, who were asking me that is it important for them to go to the US or to go abroad for further education, and how they whether it is or not, and how they feel that it is perhaps no longer that important. So I think there is a change occurring in general, where people are much more involved in their local situations, and without finding that it will make them provincial or regional, but that type of responsibility to your practice, to your immediate community, is very refreshing, is very exciting at an intellectual level also. And that's perhaps is a one needs to congratulate a topic of an exhibition that tries to be, that has this ambition to embrace this idea that all of us are at the brink of a major change, and as we experience it, culturally also, this change is very relevant. It mirrors what is happening to the practice in the art world, and how the art world has opened up and changed and altered, and is many people are participating in the art world that have this that are not just challenging strong prevalent notions, but are actually successful in creating a dialogue. So I think this type of openness and fragmentation at the same time is a good time, you know. So I find that it's a positivity within a fairly economically it's not very sound, and you know, in terms of other political changes, the world is really, everything seems to be heightened and much more. Everybody is at a brink of, like, you know, a confrontational approach to many things, and whether it's a religious turbulence, or whether it's happening at culturally but fed through an economic power structure. But in terms of art, I think there is always the ability to be positive, the ability to harness all of those various elements and kind of open up the doors for discussion and reflection.